Good morning. As you can see, it's a very frosty morning here in Jindadik at Broughton Hall. We were due to do our fire meditation this morning, but we've had a COVID lockdown today, so it's Sunday the 30th of May 2021. So we just have to make the best we can do using technology. So welcome to everybody who's watching. I really miss having you here as a group. This morning's group was about 50 people. So let's hope we can get together in a week or two, and that'd be wonderful. Today's meditation is really about, as are all the meditations, learning to control our emotions and learning to pay attention to where we want our mind to pay attention. So the exercises we've been doing over the past few months have been to teach us to learn how to focus our attention where we want it to be. And we do this through mindful breathing, taking care of where our breath is going in our body, paying attention to that, but also paying attention to our thoughts and what our thoughts are doing. With emotions, especially negative emotions, we often think we should suppress our emotions and be happy all the time and try to find a way to eliminate all the negativity and negative emotions in our life. But in fact, that's not such a great idea because it's impossible to be happy all the time. And negative emotions are very important because they teach us compassion and ultimately teach us love. And without the negative emotions, we wouldn't be having any positive emotions because we wouldn't know what a positive emotion feels like in contrast to a negative emotion. So when you think about the world we live in, there's lots of wonderful things around us all the time if we are aware and we know how to pay attention to those things. There's also lots of unwanted things that we think we shouldn't have in our life and we shouldn't pay attention to, or we should go out there and fight for to change. This all creates a contrast, and it's the contrast in life that makes us motivated to improve our lives and to try and improve the lives of others. So with this fire meditation that I was going to do today with my beautiful people, what we will be doing is light a big fire in the birch forest and find a piece of wood and write on the piece of wood an emotion or something that you don't want anymore in your life, that you've had but you now don't need anymore. So it could be resentment or loneliness or anger, it could be any of those things. And then we hold that emotion in our hand and we recognize that we've had this in our life, and we recognize that this has benefited us and others in our life. But we also recognize that we are not this emotion. That's not who we are. We are feeling the emotion, but we are not the emotion. So sometimes you see, especially with people, children are very vulnerable to this, and then of course we grow up into adults and we're still vulnerable. And we see as a child or other children being told you're angry, you're naughty, you're impossible, whatever it is, and it's not true. It's not who they are. They're feeling angry, they're being impossible, but that's not who they are. They are a wonderful, beautiful human being who is yet unaware of how to control their emotions. So when people grow into adolescence and they are still unable to control their emotions, they rebel. They rebel because they think they're angry. They think that's who they are. They think that's part of their nature. That's part of the whole part of their nature, that they just can't be happy. And I've had people in my room with coming for healings who are in total despair because they feel that all their life is tragedy and despair, but they can't see that that's not who they are. That's the emotion they're feeling, but it's not who they are. So the way to get through that is to calm your emotions using breathing, trying to get your emotions lower, your breathing lower, so that your emotion can calm. So you don't try to suppress the anger or the frustration, whatever it is. You recognize that that's what you're feeling. You recognize that it's only a feeling, that it's a transient thing, that it will pass. And then using breathing, you just wait. You concentrate on your breathing, you focus on things inside and outside of the room, you focus on something that you would like to have instead of this feeling. So if you're feeling angry, you would like to feel happy, so what would make you feel happy? And in that way, you're acknowledging that you're not the actual emotion, you're just the observer of the emotion, and then you're able to take control and be in control and be more at peace with who you are. So with young children and teenagers especially, it's very important if someone's very angry to help them to sit down and say, I understand that you're angry, I understand that you're frustrated. So the best thing to do would be to try and acknowledge this emotion, give up the reasons why you think you're angry, just acknowledge that this is an emotion and take control of your breathing, pay attention to your thoughts, and then once that's under control, then you can discuss the reasons why you're feeling this emotion. But acknowledge that you are not the emotion, that it's just a transient feeling. So it's a tragedy when you see people hurting themselves because they think that the world is just an angry place and they're angry and everything's hopeless. It's not, it's just a transient feeling. And we all feel angry, we all feel frustrated, but we also all feel happy and joyous and love all through our life in, never-ending cycles really. So, so when we do the fire meditation, we write down an emotion or something that we don't want anymore in our life. We acknowledge that we've had that. We can then decide that we've had benefits from that emotion, that we've learnt how to control ourselves. And when you throw the stick into the fire, it sort of releases the burden of that emotion. It actually teaches your subconscious that you are not the emotion, that you can give up the emotion, and then what's left is something different. And it means that you're not overwhelmed with this feeling that you had before. So I think the first thing I'll do this morning is just do a small meditation with just breathing, noticing our breathing. So we might do that before we do the stick exercise. So I'll just get you to sit up straight, become comfortable, close your eyes, and I'll just ring the singing bowl. And just breathe deeply and notice the breath going in and out in a rhythmical way. Just feel the cold air coming in and the warm air going out. And just notice where the breath is going in your body. Is it going in the upper chest? Is it going down lower into your stomach? And just gently try and lower the breath down into the stomach area. And just try to gently slow your breath down, just very gently. So you're breathing slowly and deeply. And as you do this, you're acknowledging that you're actually taking control of your breath. Now, as you're doing this, just try gently to notice any sounds you can hear outside of the room that you're in. And as you do this, you'll feel a searching in your mind, just for the sound. And as you hear sounds outside of the room, just acknowledge the sound and then try to listen for something else. And try not to necessarily name what you're hearing, just hear the sound. Now listen gently for the sounds inside of the room. Just listen quietly and just search for those sounds. It may be that the sound is silence, but search anyway. And you'll feel this searching feeling in your mind. Again, listen for the sounds outside of the room. Shift your attention to the outside and just try to see if you can hear anything. Listening gently. Now listen to the sounds again inside the room. Just see if you can hear anything inside of the room. And as you change your attention, you'll notice that your mind feels like it's changing position. You'll notice a shift in awareness. back to your breathing and just gently feel the air going through and down to the lower abdomen. Gentle, deep, soft breaths. And feel your body relaxing as you do this. Relax your shoulders, your back, your legs, your arms. Be aware that as you're doing your breath, and noticing how the air is gently moving, you can choose the emotion that you feel more freely. You can acknowledge happiness and think of a time in your life when you were happy. And you can acknowledge frustration and remember a time when you were frustrated. And you can remember joy. Remember a time when you were joyous or you saw somebody being so completely free and happy. And just notice that as you feel these emotions and remember these emotions, that these emotions are not who you are. They're just feelings that you feel, and they change. You're capable of changing, and you do change. And you're not out of control, you're in control. So just notice your breathing just for a few moments longer. And as you do this, remember the happiest, most loving and joyous time or feeling that you can feel. And as you start to do this, you'll feel your mind searching again for this memory. Or it could be something in your future that you're creating. Just sit with that feeling of achieving a dream that you have. Imagine that that dream is here now, completed, or in the process of being completed. And it feels wonderful. So take a deep breath. So when we do our breathing exercises and be mindful of how we're breathing, we are also mindful of our emotions. And it's most important to teach yourself to be in control of your breathing and your emotions. So when you're feeling something that you really don't want, something you don't like, it's not because it's who you are. You don't have to be overwhelmed with that feeling. You can acknowledge it and sit with it and feel it and recognize it, but know that it's a passing feeling and it will eventually pass. And if you know how to do your breathing and know how to control your breathing and your emotions, then you can create a higher frequency of energy in your system. And the cells in your body, when they go from a lower frequency to a higher frequency, then healing occurs and you will become healthier and happier. And just another point on creating a dream, or imagining that your dream is here now and the feeling's wonderful. When you do that, you actually are vibrating at a higher frequency in your system, and it helps the dream, or whatever it is you're desiring, to come to you, because you're not holding it away with negative vibration or a lower energy feeling. So whatever frequency it is we're after, if we talk in terms of frequency of energy, so imagine that you want something that's such a wonderful feeling, such a loving feeling, but you're saying, but I haven't got that, and I feel angry and frustrated that I haven't got that. Well, the emotion that you're emitting out is anger and frustration and a lack of having the thing that you want. So if you're emitting that frequency, you're not going to attract the thing that you want. But if you're emitting a frequency of that thing that you want, it's loving, it's wonderful, it's beautiful, and you can feel the feeling and how wonderful it is, and you sit with that feeling as you breathe and imagine that it's here right now, then you're emitting that frequency of energy and you match the thing that you want, and the thing that you want comes to you, or comes closer to you at least. And the more you practice, the quicker all that happens. So I would say that with our emotions, with the fire meditation that we're doing next time we meet, just acknowledge that it's okay to have these negative emotions. We need to have them, because that's how we learn compassion and love. If we didn't have anything going on in our life that was wrong or unwanted, then we wouldn't learn much about what we do want, and we wouldn't value the things that we have. One of the issues that I see in our culture now is that children are never allowed to suffer. They're never allowed to experience negative emotion, and if they do, it's quickly band-aided up with, have another pair of shoes, or have tickets to something, or here's some more money, or I'll buy you a new computer to make you feel better. But it's actually quite valuable for everyone to be able to experience in reality the feeling of sorrow or suffering in some small way, or acknowledge it even in somebody else, and then we learn how to deal with it, and from that we become much more compassionate, and we learn how to be a compassionate soul and how to be a loving person. So I would suggest, if you have a small child who's suffering because they want something they can't have, then sit with them, do some deep breathing, and imagine that the sunshine is healing them, or make up a story for them that's a positive story, and say that, you know, this thing will be much more valuable to you when you get it, if you have to wait and feel that contrast between the not having it and the having it, if it's just a simple thing. But I also think that when you look at people or situations where there is no suffering, there's also no compassion. So I would keep that in mind. I think that's probably enough for this video, because I'm not sure exactly how to download it or anything, so I'm going to try and do that next. So thank you for watching, and I will do more of these over the next few days if we continue to have the lockdowns, and I look forward to seeing you at our next meditation.